morning and happy Monday. So I know the Fortnight Frights readathon, which is what we're doing here today, started yesterday. However, I'm in the middle of The Ruthless Boys by C.M. Stenich. It's the second book in the Adamson All Boys Academy series that is like half romance, half thriller mystery thing. And I've just been sucked into that world again because I made a video about like my favorite horror stuff. And again, The Secret Girl, the first book, is not necessarily horror, but it's not just like a nice fluffy romance or anything like that. It's probably like romantic suspense maybe. And so I said I wanted to reread it, and I did reread it. And now I'm in the middle of the second book, and there's a third book, and Fortnight Frights started already. However, Presley keeps stealing my phone because I'm reading it as an ebook. So I figured I might as well just start this vlog now and pick out one of my physical books to read, so that I can actually read something each time he steals my phone. So the thing that I would probably normally do, and I think I might do anyway, is start with the easiest book on my TBR, which for this readathon is going to be Venus in the Blind Spot by Junji Ito. This is a horror manga. It's actually not even like super thick, but I believe this is a horror manga of short stories by Junji Ito, who's like my favorite horror manga artist and stuff. He's coming up here to get more books. No, Presley, those are mine. Horror manga. I think I'm going to start with this one. I do have a few other books that I want to read in this 2-week period. And then also other books that I want to read that are not part of this readathon that I don't know if I'm actually going to talk to you guys about during the vlog or not. Hi. Do you want to see? There you are. But yeah, I just wanted to pick out something to have a physical book to read when he steals my phone, because I do actually want to try. He keeps trying to pick the camera up, so I'm trying to like, there you go, move my arm as far away as possible. I want a physical book to read, even though I definitely want to finish my ebooks first, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, hi, Okay, we're gonna go. Good morning, everyone. It is now Tuesday, and I've only read 2 stories so far in Venus in the Blind Spot. This is what's under the dust jacket. A little bit creepier than the actual cover, and so far I'm really liking it. They do have like colored poster-y photos at the beginning. These are some of like the title pages of certain stories that he has done. I don't know if they're all in this book or not. And so the first 2 stories that I ended up reading one was Billions Alone, which, while sort of creepy, I don't think the ending really fit together well for me. I just don't know what it was trying to be. It was obviously creepy, especially in the illustration style, but just not my favorite. It actually did start off in color for the first few pages, and for whatever reason, it is very creepy. I don't think the actual creepiness and the creepy illustrations from Junji Ito's work, for me personally, show through as well in color. I like it better in the black and white. And then the second story, though, was The Human Chair. And so for this short story collection, some of these short stories are from Junji Ito himself, like he did everything about them, story, illustration, all that kind of stuff. However, there's also some in here that are from other authors. And so The Human Chair was one like that. It was originally by, I'm probably going to completely butcher this name, and I'm very, very sorry, Edogawa Ranpo. And so the thing is, it was super creepy. I loved this one so far. But I feel like I have heard the story before, but I don't think I've seen it in the manga. And I feel like because you get to see the story progress in pictures, it's very, very creepy. So the next story that we have going on is called An Unearthly Love, and this one is also by Edogawa Ranpo, which is, you know, illustrated obviously by Junji Ito. And I think there's some other ones potentially that are also other authors' work that has been sort of like translated, transcribed, made into a manga, but I'm very excited for it. I did also finish The Ruthless Boys last night, which is what I was reading on my phone, and I read 2 stories in here because Presley was stealing my phone, and I gave it like a 4 stars. I don't know how much I should talk about it in this vlog since it's not part of my Fortnight Frights TBR, but it's the second book in a trilogy that is supposed to be a reverse harem new adult romance, but also has like mystery, thriller, there's a killer out there elements, and I liked the first one so much more. This middle one definitely felt like it had second book syndrome. It focused a little bit too much on the romance for me, which is weird because like originally when I read the first one like a year or so ago, I went into it knowing it was going to have romance, and we didn't know fully that it was going to have the thriller mystery elements, but I felt like the mystery thriller elements got put to the back burner, so much so that it felt out of place to have so much romance. Lots of sex scenes as well, which I don't know, there was just something about the characters in there that I didn't quite jive with the romance and stuff like that. One of the things that our main character of Charlotte talks about a lot is like in the first book she had a boyfriend who then cheated on her and became an ex-boyfriend, and she compares him a lot to the boys in the second book, but she talks about how like, oh, he's just like a kid or something like that, and like one of the boys in the second book is very sort of possessive over her, but it's also supposed to be a reverse harem, so like she's developing feelings for other characters. However, a lot of the times I don't see the development of the feelings. We just all of a sudden get told, oh yeah, I think I'm crushing on such and such too. And it's just not quite there for me, which is a little bit weird because this author is a very famous one in the reverse harem world, but also in general one that I really, really enjoy. And I just think the second book didn't quite do it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's probably closer to a 3.5, but I round up on Goodreads. And yeah, it also had a map at the beginning of the book that was for like a sort of like a Japanese bathhouse sort of thing. And we didn't get there until like the last like 10% of the book. And so it was a map for a place that we didn't get to really in this book. And then like stuff happened at the very, very end that left it on a cliffhanger for the third book. I don't know, I just feel like the elements that I was wanting more, I wanted more of that mystery thriller, you know, I want to figure out who's trying to kill her sort of stuff. Those didn't come together as much for me, and so I was slogging a little bit through the romantic elements, although some of it was still really good, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I probably will also be starting the third book of that today because I just want to like get through it and figure out who is like trying to kill her. But I also do want to finish this one today, I think, as well, just because Presley keeps stealing my phone, and I'm probably going to be reading it. Okay, so I have now finished Venus in the Blind Spot. I have not put the cover back on yet, but I just wanted to go over, I guess, the rest of the stories in here, sort of like my feelings on them before I gave it a full rating. So we talked about the first 2 already. The next one was An Unearthly Love. It was okay. I want to say maybe like 3.5 stars. It was just a little weird, but not creepy enough. Like it was a little bit creepy, but like I wanted more. But it was a pretty good solid story. Then we actually had Venus in the Blind Spot, the namesake of this book. That one I actually really did like. I probably would give it closer to like a 4.5, maybe a full 5 stars. It's not like my absolute favorite of this collection, but it's like really good. I actually did like that one a lot. They have The Licking Woman. Now that one I would give 5 stars. That one's like really creepy. The drawings could be very nightmare fuelish. That was a really good one. And then we have Master Umez and Me. So this is about an actual other manga artist, Kazuo Umez, who did like The Drifting Classroom. This one bored me, probably because it's more of a non-fiction. It talks about Junji Ito sort of growing up and like the different stories that he had read from Umez. And I don't know, I guess it's also the way he talks about Umez's work. Umez I don't think is necessarily for me because it talks a lot about just like how he's trying to have commentary on society, I guess, but the sort of horror and jokey elements that they talked about in this one sort of seem misogynistic and that kind of thing, and I just didn't really like that as much, so I would probably give that whole story 2.5 or 3 stars. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was non-fiction, and it was not my thing at all. Then we have How Love Came to Professor Kurita, and this one was actually a short story by Robert Hitchens that was, again, put into the manga. This one was okay, probably like 3 stars. I found it okay, but they do have a like ghost of a woman who almost seems like she's sort of sexually assaulting one of the guys in the story, and so that one, I'm not into that really. Then we had The Enigma of Amigara Fault. That one is a short story that I have read before. It was also in the Geo hardcover collector's edition or whatever. That one I really love. It's one of my favorites. 5 out of 5 stars. Even reading it again, they had a couple illustrations that were in color, and again, I do still feel like I like the black and white illustrations better. The color doesn't really do much for me, but that's one of my favorite short stories. Then we also had The Sad Tale of the Principal Post. I remember seeing this one before. I don't know if it was in a different book or if I saw it online. It's only like 3 or 4 pages long, but it's really good. It's like a 4-star. I wish there was a little bit more, but it's a really good story. And then the last one we had here was Keepsake, which, again, I want to say maybe like 4 stars. It was creepy, but it also had necrophilia. So some of the elements in these stories, again, it's horror. It's a horror manga, so you get to see the illustrations of the horror, obviously. But I feel like there's some elements or some places that horror goes sometimes where I just don't like that as much. So like, yeah, like the sexual assault, the necrophilia, those kind of things, I just feel like pushed it a little too far. It's not as creepy for me. It's not as scary. It's just more uncomfortable. But the illustrations in Keepsake were also very, very creepy. So like 4, because it had some elements that I didn't like, but it was still a really good creepy story. So this whole collection, I feel like I give most of these short story collections from Junji Ito 4 stars, because some are really, really good, some are not so good, and I do feel like this is a solid 4-star collection. I want to say Shiver by Junji Ito is my favorite. I think that one had more really, really good stories and really creepy stories, and I might have given that short story collection a 5 stars. But that might have been the only one outside of his like manga series. But this is still a good collection. It is quite short, but it had good stories in it. So I'm very happy with this being my first read for the Fortnight Frights. I put the cover back on, but I wanted to talk to you guys really quick because I always forget to do this part. We have a bingo board for this readathon, and we are allowed to double up on prompts because there are 2 different ways you could do the bingo board. You could just get a bingo, or you could try to combine at least 2 prompts per book. And I'm sort of doing both through this readathon. So this one here fits for horror comic, an Asian author, and a translated work. I completely forgot to say that earlier, and I wanted to make sure you guys know. Okay, so it is Wednesday today. I have already gotten most of my videos set up for tomorrow, which I'm happy about, but I will have to do CC. And I just wanted to come in and let you guys know that I did start the Forever Crew last night, which is the 3rd and final book in the Adamson's All Boys Academy series that I'm not really reading for this readathon, but I don't know where else to really talk about it, and I feel like I should talk about it. I got like 20% in last night. Goodreads has it listed as like 288 pages, but the word count according to the author is more than the first book, which is like 300 and something or 400. So the page number is obviously wrong, but also I'm just at that point where I don't think it's really working out for me. I don't know quite what it is. I think part of it is that the characters aren't super fully fleshed out, and so I don't know, some of the decisions are a little bit weird, but also she in the end of the last book was like getting chased by a killer, potentially. And in this book now, she's like questioning all of the romantic interests as to like, oh, what if they're the killer? And I'm like, do you not trust anybody? I don't know, like, you are fully giving yourself over and having sex with some of these people, and yet you also think they could be trying to murder you. It's a little bit weird. Like, I don't feel like that's it. It's also a little bit cheesy writing style. I'm gonna get through it because I really want to know, like, the murder aspect, the mystery aspect, but the romantic aspect isn't working out for me. But I am going to be starting a book today, hopefully finishing it today. It's a very, very short one, for the actual Fortnight Frights readathon. And this is going to be Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This one is, like I said, very, very short. It's one that I've had, hi baby. It's one that I've had on multiple readathon TBRs, and I've just never gotten to. So I definitely do want to read it, and he has been stealing my phone again. So the Forever Crew is an ebook, and I want to have something as a physical book that I can read in case he steals my phone. He's actually currently standing on my phone right now because he stole it while I was filming this. So yes, we're going to be reading this one. I'm very excited. I actually have the second one as well, so depending on how far I get into my reading for this readathon at the end of this month, I might pick that one up too if I like this one. We shall see, but I'm very excited. It's very short. This shouldn't take long at all. So I am still in the middle of Every Heart a Doorway, but this is a vlog, and since we're not really going out and doing anything ever, the only extra footage you guys really are gonna get is cooking. So I'm currently going to be doing zucchini boats tonight. I know Leon's parents are planning on cooking other stuff as well, but this is going to have zucchini, Italian sausage, spaghetti sauce, and I think onions and garlic, and then cheese on top. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been wanting it for a couple weeks now. I don't know why, but I've been craving it. So I guess you're going to get some B-roll footage of that, but I'm hoping it tastes amazing. Okay, so dinner was really good. I didn't really film anything of it because I sort of forgot, but I did take this picture here. It was really, really good. It was amazing, actually. I should have expected it because it's basically just like Italian sausage and spaghetti sauce and zucchini, and it's all things I like, and cheese. Don't forget the cheese. But I was a little bit nervous because I've never done this recipe before. I'm 103 pages into, you can't see that, Every Heart a Doorway. So I'm definitely gonna finish this tonight. I am loving it so far. Oh my gosh, like I don't see a way to give it less than 5 stars. Like this is so far turning out to be like a perfect novella. I'm hit or miss with novellas, I feel like, but I have read some good ones this year, especially this one. I'm really liking it. This one is for one of the prompts as dark fantasy for Fortnight Frights and some other ones. I'll talk about it more when I'm actually like finished with the book, but one of the prompts it fulfills is dark fantasy. And I wasn't too sure how that was gonna fit when I first started into this book. The only reason I knew it fit for the dark fantasy prompt is it was on Seiji's compendium. Like she made a compendium and all this other stuff for Fortnight Frights, and I went through that to find books that I wanted to read, and one of it mentioned this, and I knew I had it, so I was like, perfect. But it mentioned that it was dark fantasy, and I didn't know how that was going to fit, especially since it is so thin. And the summary, it's been a while since I've read it, and I just looked at it now so I would know sort of what to tell you, but it just mentions tragedy. A tragedy strikes or something like that. And so that's all I'm gonna really mention about it, but that happened about halfway through the book, and then more tragedy just happened, and yeah, let me tell you, it's getting dark. Very dark. But I'm still really loving it. I'm loving the fact that our main character is Nancy, and we are learning about this like sort of like home for these children that had come back from portals. It's almost billed as like a school or an asylum to the parents, because the parents don't believe that these children actually went to other worlds, but obviously they did. And so this is trying to help them become acclimated more to Presley's throwing balls, become more acclimated to the real world, and like all these children want to go back to their portal worlds, and it's very intriguing because Nancy had her own portal, but we're learning more about the school through her, and I really like it. I know I've heard that you can basically read these books in any order, but I feel like this is a really, really good first one. I don't know obviously about the rest of the series and if the order is the best it should be, but I really like this one. I like that we have a trans character. I like that Nancy is on the page stating that she is asexual. It's great. Okay. Presley, what are you doing? You see that baby? Yeah? Oh, he didn't want to come in here. Okay, but yes, I'm going to continue reading this. Presley will be going to bed shortly. We'll probably start his bath in about 10-15 minutes, and then I might have to finish this tonight upstairs. But I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Presley, a kitty kitty. Oh, good baby. Okay, it is Thursday morning. Why do I do this to myself every single time? I did end up finishing Every Heart a Doorway last night by Sean McGuire. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. It was so short, obviously, because it's a novella, but it was so well done. Like, I loved finding it. Okay. Careful, please. He's climbing up on this couch. You coming to join mommy? Hi. Okay. I guess we're gonna hold the baby instead of the book. But I loved learning about the, like, sort of school area from Nancy. There was the tragedy stuff that it had talked about. And, ow, we're getting elbows in the boobs. Be careful, please. He's also sitting on the cat. This poor cat. But also, we did get the, like, reveal and stuff for it, which I actually guessed the reveal. However, the writing for this was amazing. Like, I absolutely loved how the reveal was done. The characters, how they were done. We had an asexual character. We had a trans character. The ending wasn't exactly open-ended, but I sort of still liked the way it was almost open-ended. I can't exactly describe it the way that you guys probably want to hear, but I loved it. I do have the second book, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, on my TBR shelves, but I have so many other things that I want to read by the end of this month, which is during this readathon. I don't know if we'll get to it this month. We'll see, but I really do want to continue. And I believe that one is a prequel on some of the characters. So I'm curious to see how I feel about that, because I know the sequel to, like, this book specifically doesn't happen for a couple more books. But I really, really did enjoy that one. Hi. Are you laying on that cat? Yeah. I did not read any more of the Forever Crew yesterday, and I'm going to be starting, I believe, Cemetery Boys. My copy is over there somewhere, but I want another physical book to read around my ebooks, because again, he's stealing my phone. Like, he literally just stole my phone, and so I want to have a physical book to read. And I haven't read any of my, like, actual novel-sized books for this readathon yet, even though I have a couple, but I feel like I want to do probably the one that I'm going to enjoy the most or be able to get through the easiest, which is Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This one has a trans main character. It also has undead characters, and because I'm just thinking about it, I did the thing again where I didn't talk about where this fits on the bingo board. So Every Heart a Doorway. We're gonna put the bingo board right up here. This one fits for dark fantasy as well as an LGBTQ+ author. I think that's it for now, and I will talk to you guys later. Well, good morning, almost afternoon. I went out and picked up my new glasses. I had an eye exam thing like 3 weeks ago. Ordered a pair of glasses, had them come in, wore them for almost a whole week, but they were just not working. I usually wear plastic frames, and I got plastic frames the last time. However, the trend of them right now seems to be bigger lenses, like more square or more round. And I have such a high prescription that even with the compression lenses, like the high focus or whatever kind of lenses they are, I have really thick lenses. And so even when trying to get smaller plastic frames, they were a little bit too heavy. They also sat lower on my nose than normal, the bridge did, and so it was just really not working for me. So we went back in almost a week ago, over a week ago. We went back in like last Thursday. Today's Friday now, obviously, and spent forever trying to figure out frames for my face because all the plastic ones are too big. So I'm actually now wearing metal frames. I have not worn metal frames in probably at least 15 years, probably more than that even. And I was a little bit worried because how big my lenses are. I was worried you were gonna be able to really like see it on the side. And actually, I'm not hating it. I love the color I got. They're like a blue, especially on the, can we see it like on the arm of the glasses? Maybe. But I'm actually really enjoying the shape of them. They sit exactly where I want them to sit on my nose. And I have had basically no adjustment period for the lenses, like because they are a higher prescription than my last ones. Whereas the other ones I tried to get, I was having headaches from them as well because it was just not quite right. So I'm very happy with these. Speaking of reading, that was a non sequitur if I ever heard one, because I thought about it and now we're saying it with no real transition. I read 41 pages of Cemetery Boys last night. I'm really enjoying it. One thing, and I don't know if this is just a me thing or if other people have experienced this as well, but do you ever feel like you're more intimidated to go into a book because of how small the font size is? This is a 344, 45, something like that page book. And I read 41 pages, which is not bad at all, but the text size, the font size is so freaking tiny in this that I wasn't too sure I wanted to actually get into it once I actually looked at the text size. I'm just, I guess, more used to YA books especially having a better or a bigger text size. It's not necessarily that it's worse or better, but I feel like it took me longer to read. And one thing about this is it is going to feel like the book is longer than 340 something pages, which is probably a good thing because so far I've really enjoyed what I've read. But the chapters are already like 20 something pages long, and the fact that the font is so small makes that feel even longer, and I'm definitely somebody that likes shorter chapters. I should probably show you guys the text size. Oh, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the real difference though unless I show a different book, but here we go. So I'm going to be starting chapter 3 today. Can you even see this though? Like, I don't know. Ah! Presley. Hi. Yeah. I don't know if we can see this or not, but the text size is much smaller than like the stuff I had been reading as other YA books. And I'm not necessarily complaining, sort of complaining. I don't know. I feel like there's just a comfortable text size and my comfort level is higher than this. But I really did enjoy the first 41 pages. Yadriel, our main character, is trans, and so far what we've had with that is some support from his mother who had previously passed and one of his cousins, but we do have other people in his family, specifically like his grandmother and his father, who do not see him as a boy, and so there has been some like dead naming and use of the wrong pronouns, and I'm absolutely loving the way this is written. It is an Own Voices novel, and I really feel for Yadriel, but I could see definitely how this could be triggering, and so I definitely want to get more into the actual plot because we haven't gotten through too much yet. We've just had a sort of like tragedy thing happen in his family, in his community. He's part of a community of Bruhexes, I think is what they're using in here, because like Brujo is the term for the male witch sort of thing, and a Bruja is a female witch, but in this book they're using Bruhex as the term for everybody. And I do like also the commentary that we've had so far about Yadriel being part of a culture and a community that uses Spanish, and how in that language you have words that are either female or male depending on your gender. And so that's part of the misgendering that he is getting, is that a lot of people are using the female form of certain words when they should be using the male form. So I definitely feel like that's a very interesting aspect, and I'm very curious to see what we're gonna do next. We're gonna be having lunch soon, so I will try to read more today and talk to you guys later, but obviously we're just hanging out on the couch, huh, dude? Yeah. Good morning and happy Saturday. I read up to page 181 in this last night. I am really enjoying this one. I'm absolutely loving our main character of Yadriel and our ghosty character of Julian, but also we have Maritza, who is Yadriel's cousin, and I absolutely love the support she gives him. Like, there's a part in here where literally she just like introduces herself as like, hi, I'm Maritza, and this guy over here is Yadriel. I love it. I'm halfway through, a little more than halfway through. I actually don't know. I have a guess as to the why things are happening, who did stuff. I don't know if I'm right, and even if I am right, so far the writing has been really good, so I'm really hoping the reveal is amazing and makes sense, because right now this could definitely be a 5-star book. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I know I talked about yesterday about how the font size was a little bit small, and I do think in general the font size of this book is a little small for my particular tastes. However, once I like got into the story, I haven't noticed a big difference or anything at all. I'm really into this story. I'm loving this book. I'm loving it so much. My goal today is to finish it today because I have not read any of my ebook in the last like 3 days, which is fine. I was not into that one as much, but I do feel like I need to finish that one soon too, but I want to finish this one first because I'm loving it, and it's still just like super gorgeous. I also need to film today. I was supposed to film yesterday and then I didn't because the light wasn't that great. However, it's supposed to be like overcast all day today, and I think it's supposed to rain later this week. Tomorrow, is it supposed to rain tomorrow? I want it to rain, but at the same time, I don't own any special like ring lights or anything like that, and I do feel like I need to invest in it eventually, but that means I use exclusively outside natural daylight, and it's a little overcast today, so I need to probably get my filming done as soon as possible, just in case it decides to rain early. But yes, loving this so much. No scissors for the baby. But he's gonna play with the cards. Okay, so there is some noise in the background, but since it's a vlog, I don't care. And I captioned everything, so you guys should be fine. I have a package to unbox. I had been seeing some people talk about this series on Twitter, and they were talking about how book 10 is basically never gonna happen. I think they've been waiting for at least 15, 20 years, something like that. It came out like in the 90s. I want to say they've been waiting since like 1998. So obviously people that are watching this right now probably have decided that they know what I'm talking about. And I was sort of interested in this series a while ago and I just never picked it up. But I was curious because they had mentioned like the last actual like title of the book. You can take those. I think it was the title of book 10, and I had no idea what that actually was. So I looked it up and I realized that they have interesting covers for like the original ones, like maybe not like interesting is probably not the best word for it, but like the original like 1990s mass market covers of this series is like cool to me, and so I had to pick these up. I found them on eBay, the whole 9-book series, for like $15, and so yeah, I got them. I don't know what order they're supposed to be read in. I'm just going to show them to you in the order that this stack is. They look in pretty darn good condition, and I'm very excited. But yeah, so basically I only bought them because of the covers. I will read them eventually, but they are the Night World series by L.J. Smith. So here is Secret Vampire, but I mean, like, look at this cover. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, there's just something about it that does it for me. But yes, so this is Secret Vampire. Daughter of Darkness, Black Dawn, The Chosen, Witchlight, and Presley's in there, yeah. Huntress, Spellbinder, slid on the cards that he's throwing on the floor, Dark Angel, and Soulmate. So I know a lot of these are vampire ones. I don't know how much there is. I think one of them that I had looked up is also maybe a shifter type of book. But yeah, I exclusively bought these because I really, really enjoy the covers of this like teen paranormal book thing that they did in the 1990s. So yeah, even though book 10 is probably never gonna come out, and even if it did, it's probably never gonna come out in these covers, I had to buy them. That's my update for right now. I haven't read anything else today yet. Have you read anything? Actually, we have. We've read some books for him. Are you having fun? Thank you! Thank you so much! Read a book set in winter. I'm not gonna do that. So, lighting, probably not the best situation. It's almost 6 o'clock here, but I did finish Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. Oh my gosh, guys, 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I actually teared up a couple times in this. The actual like characters and relationship and everything was probably my favorite part. It did have a great plot and everything like that. I loved the reveals and stuff near the end. But the like actual emotions it made me feel is just incredible. Like, can I actually say Aidan Thomas is probably an auto-buy author now, even though I've only read one of his books? Like, the next one that he wrote is coming out in March, and I have to get that right away. Like, I absolutely, absolutely love this one. This is gonna be one of my favorite books of the year, I think. It was so good, so well done. I love the conversation it had, like I talked about earlier, with the sort of pronouns or words in certain languages like Spanish that have a gender assigned to it. It was so well done. Oh my gosh. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do any more reading tonight because I'm gonna be thinking about this book constantly. I want a sequel, but at the same time, it was such a good standalone. I don't think it's gonna get a sequel, but like I want more with Yadriel. I love him so much. It was so good. Okay, that's my update for now. I don't think I have enough good lighting right now to actually do a photo for an Instagram post, because I've been trying to keep up with my Instagram stuff and my Bookstagram stuff during this readathon. So I'll have to do that like first thing in the morning, but it was phenomenal. Ready? And touch it. There's one sprouting. And touch it. And get in there. Sit down.
It's like, no.
Yeah? You want to put your hand in? Here's your pumpkin. Do you need mommy to show you? Look. You want to do? Presley? Here, can you put them in the bowl?
It's like, I'm gonna put him back in.
We'll let him. Oh, not on the table. Hello everyone, it is Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We're about to put Presley to bed. You saw me doing things throughout the day, but I never talked to you. We did pumpkins and stuff. I edited my video. I filmed a couple things, so I'm very happy with that. I will be starting Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones tonight. This I have on ebook, so I don't have the physical version to show you guys right here, but it is a novella, so I do feel like this is going to go by pretty quickly, and I'm very excited for it. I don't know much about it at all, but Kayla from Books and Lala read it and enjoyed it, and then I skipped that part of her video because I didn't want to spoil myself for anything. So that's what I'm going to be reading. And then because I'm bad, I don't know if I actually told you what Cemetery Boys fit for the prompts that I did, so we're gonna run over that really quickly. It fit for an undead character, the Latinx author, and an LGBTQ author. I know we already had that with Shauna McGuire, but Aidan Thomas fits that as well. So yes, very excited to start my next read, but we will talk about that in the morning. Good morning, it is Monday again, and I did end up reading Night of the Mannequins last night by Stephen Graham Jones. I'm giving this 4 out of 5 stars. This is a very hard one to describe without getting into any sort of spoilers because it is a novella. It's like 130 or 140 pages, and it's weird, like super weird. When you hear Night of the Mannequins, you definitely assume that it's going to have something to really do with mannequins, maybe paranormal elements, that kind of stuff, and it's not. I knew that going in from Kayla's video, that it was not going to have those typical elements that you would have assumed just based on like the title. And I know on Goodreads the summary is basically non-existent. I'm gonna put spoilers up for the summary because basically we have a character who we have the POV of, who after one of his friends dies, he is under the impression that a mannequin that him and his friends used to play with is coming back to life and killing them. And so in order to save the family and friends of his friends, like the people around them, he is going to go and kill off his friends first to avoid the collateral damage. It's a very, very weird story, and I gave it a 4 stars for a couple reasons. One is the voice of the narrator. So we are following Sawyer, and it is all told from his point of view, his first person point of view, but not only that, but it's a very conversational tone. It is run on sentences and rambling and like going off topic and then coming back onto topic, and it took a while to really get into that conversational tone and that frame of mind. I didn't mind it. I do think it was very telling of the character and very, like, you get into his head completely. And so I did like learning about the character that way. However, like I said, it took a little while to get into it at the very beginning of the story. But also Presley woke up a little bit cranky at one point because I read it all last night in bed and I had to, you know, settle him back down and everything. So then by the time I got back to the story, I had to like relearn how to get back into it. It's just a very hard style for me personally to like get into. I do think an audiobook, maybe, where it feels more like he's telling the story, would be better. And then the second part that gave it 4 stars is I was really enjoying the story. It's super weird and bloody and gory. But there was a reveal at the end that didn't fully make sense to me, and I think part of it was because of Sawyer telling the story. I don't know if they just sort of jumped over the explanation part of the reveal, or if we just didn't get enough of that. I don't know, but I was a little bit confused. And then for this story, we're gonna pull up our bingo board here. It fit for a short story prompt. I know it's technically more of a novella, but I'm using it for that one because it's I think the shortest one I read so far for this readathon. And then it also fit for the Indigenous author prompt. Now, the last book I have to read is The Hound of the Baskervilles, which is just too far over there for me to grab right now. So I will be starting that later today, and I will update you guys when I start reading it. Okay, so I had a package come in today that I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I didn't open it yet because Presley was sleeping and then I forgot about it, and we're gonna open it just so I can make sure it's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, okay. A little bit beat up on one of them, but I can't blame it because of the fact that I have been looking for this edition of these books for years. So I'm pretty darn happy with it. I got these 2 books because I already have the first one, and I did pay around the same price for these as all 9 books in the Night World series that I showed you guys before. And I ended up buying these after I purchased those ones because I feel like the covers are a very similar style. These are also from the 90s, and it's the Final Friends series by Christopher Pike. I already own the first one in this cover, and I own 1, 2, and 3 in a slightly newer cover. It's still old. It's still not an actual like new series, new edition, but they are newer than these ones. And yeah, it's because these were really hard to find. The last few times I had looked them up on eBay, they were like 30, 40, 50 bucks a copy. So this time I got them for around $7 each, which is not bad. More than, you know, they would have paid for them originally. Yeah, this was originally $4, this was $4.50. But I am excited. They smell interesting. Like the person who sold it put perfume on them or something, because I don't think it's a book smell, but I am very happy for these. Book 2, The Dance, and Book 3, The Graduation. I'm just a sucker for these covers. I don't know, they just... Presley, what are you doing? Oh, you found your books? Okay. They just do something for me. But like I said, book number 3 is a little bit damaged, but I think it said it was like good condition or something on eBay, so not bad, and I'm very happy with them. Good morning. I got up to page 84 in this book last night. For a second, I wanted to say in Sherlock, and obviously it is a Sherlock Holmes story, but it's not quite that. I'm really enjoying it. I've actually really enjoyed the first few chapters that I've read so far. I'm on chapter 7 now. It took me a little longer to get into the story than I was really hoping for last night. Like, it took me longer to read those like 80-something pages than I thought. Mostly because Presley was super cranky last night. He just couldn't fully settle down. So even though he was asleep, he kept fussing and rolling and all this kind of stuff. So that obviously means I had to sort of help him settle down. And so I had to start and stop this book a lot. I do definitely want to read more of this today. I'm loving the like parallels that I'm seeing between this story and the TV show, because I actually watched the TV show before I ended up picking up these books. That's why we have the Sherlock covers on them. I actually never finished the TV show either, like the last season and a half maybe. So I definitely want to rewatch eventually and like continue, because I did love what I was watching. But yeah, we're in the middle of this. I'm loving the parallels. The writing style, not necessarily my favorite. It is definitely one of those books that is a classic and you can tell it's written in that time period. But we're gonna be reading some more. Morning and happy Wednesday. So I did end up finishing my book last night, which I'm very happy with. So this obviously is The Hound of the Baskervilles. I'm giving it 4 stars. I think I've given all of the Sherlock Holmes stories and short stories 4 stars, mostly because I do enjoy reading them. However, the writing style, so the language of the characters, which I know is very common back when these were written, but like the writing style, and then also the fact that Dr. Watson ends up telling most of the story, at least for this one, because I don't remember the other ones as well, through letters and diary entries. It's more telling than showing, but I did still really like the reveals and the stuff that happened, and I did guess certain parts of it, but like in a good way. So I really did like this one, but I don't think I'm ever really going to give one 5 stars, just because it's not the typical stuff that I do like in the writing and everything like that. But this is going to be my last read for Fortnight Frights. This one did fulfill the prompt for a book written before 1960, because I think this one was like 1901 potentially, and then also for the mainland European author. I know technically Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is British, I believe, and so I know that's technically like an island, but I'm counting it as mainland Europe because he's European. Okay, that's that. I actually read all 5 of the books I set out to read for my TBR, and I really enjoyed all of them. Oh my goodness, like I can't believe how many good books I actually ended up reading for this readathon. I had 2 5-star reads. One was Every Heart a Doorway and one was Cemetery Boys, and then I had 3 4-star reads. One was Night of the Mannequins, one was Venus in the Blind Spot, and then one was The Hound of the Baskervilles. So yeah, everything for this readathon was 4 or 5 stars, and that is amazing. Now, I'm done with this readathon. It is only Wednesday today, but I have finished my TBR, and we will be leaving this weekend to go take my in-laws to LA so they can catch their flight back home, because they've been here since like the week before Thanksgiving of last year. So they've been here for like 11 months. It'll be like just over 11 months, I think, when they finally leave. And so because of that, their flight's on November 1st. We'll be leaving on October 31st. And if I want to get this vlog up with any time left over, I need to actually edit this. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I will be reading other stuff. It just won't be anything for Fortnight Frights. It won't be anything that I'm trying to get through super quickly. It'll probably just be a couple ebooks. I do need to finish The Forever Crew. We'll see about that. But otherwise, I think that's it for me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I have videos up Mondays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.